So what if you stop, treating love like it's a doctor's waiting room?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a very vivid image.
Right, because you know the feeling. Like you go in, you take your little paper ticket, you sit down in one of those incredibly uncomfortable plastic chairs, and you just wait.
You're just stuck there.
Exactly. You flip through your phone, maybe you swipe on some apps, and you hope that eventually the universe is just going to call your number.
It is an incredibly passive stance, but, well, it's also exactly what we're culturally conditioned to do, you
Yeah,
know?
totally.
We're taught, mostly through movies and pop culture and stuff, that true love is supposed to just strike us out of the blue, like a lightning bolt.
Like a lightning bolt. And if you're out there, actively trying to find it or putting like real structured effort into it, society almost makes you feel like you're doing something wrong.
Or worse, that you're desperate. Yeah.
Desperate. But today, we're completely flipping that script.
Yeah.
Like, what if, instead of sitting in that waiting room, you were the one throwing the front doors open and actually writing the schedule yourself?
Taking the power back.
Exactly. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the Practical Witch's Love Spell book by Cerridwen Greenleaf. And look, before you hear the word witch and start picturing, I don't know, Hollywood movies with bubbling cauldrons and pointy hats.
It's not always the default, right?
Always the default. But we really need to look at who is actually writing this. Greenleaf is a medieval scholar. She's an astrologer and a best-selling author. I mean, she's sold over 100,000 books.
That's a huge milestone for the genre.
It really is. And more importantly, she's worked closely with people like Starhawk and Z Budapest.
Right. And for those who might not, know those names, Starhawk and Z Budapest are, well, they're absolute foundational pillars of the modern feminist spirituality movement.
Yeah, earth-based magic, right?
Exactly. Earth-based magic. They brought this profound historical, psychological, and frankly, deeply empowering weight to practices that mainstream culture usually just dismisses as like whimsical.
Yeah, totally.
So Greenleaf approaching this topic, it comes from a place of deep, grounded historical practice. It's not just fluff.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because our mission today is to decode Greenleaf's central philosophy. And when you strip away the aesthetics, her philosophy is remarkably practical. It's basically that magic is simply the art of aligning your intention with your action.
So that's it. That's the core.
Right. So we're going to look at how anyone, like whether you're a seasoned practitioner or someone who has literally never even lit a candle with intention, how you can use everyday rituals to shift from being that passive waiter to an active lover.
And that transition, that's the absolute core of the text. Love is not a passive experience in this framework. I mean, it is an active daily practice.
It takes work.
Right. We aren't just looking at, like, a list of ingredients for spells today. We're exploring a fundamental psychological shift in how you relate to desire and, well, connection in general.
But to make that shift, I feel like we really need to address the elephant in the room. Because the book talks about the psychological archetypes, specifically contrasting what she calls the practitioner with the skeptic.
Oh, yes. The skeptic is a very real presence in all of this.
Right, so the practitioner is disciplined and intentional, but the skeptic is, rational, hesitant, and probably listening to this deep dive right now thinking, come on, does lighting a pink candle actually change my dating life?
Which is a fair question.
It totally is. So if someone is firmly in that skeptic mindset, how does the source material actually convince them to take the leap? Because frankly, the idea of doing a quote-unquote love spell feels like a massive jump for a highly logical person.
Yeah, I mean, the bridge for the skeptic is the book's foundational concept of good magic. What's fascinating here is that when the skeptic hears love spell, their immediate fear is usually coercion.
Yeah, like mind control.
Exactly. They imagine this mystical mind control device. But good magic strictly emphasizes ethical, positive, life-affirming practices. The book makes it, abundantly clear that love magic is absolutely not about manipulation.
No, overriding someone's will.
Never. It is never about violating someone's free will or mutual consent. That is a hard boundary.
But wait, even if you aren't literally brainwashing someone, isn't there still an inherent, gray area? Like, if I'm doing a ritual to make a specific person fall for me, isn't that still a form of covert influence? Where does the book actually draw the line?
That is a crucial distinction, and honestly, the book draws a very hard line. Good magic does not target an unwilling specific individual.
So no casting a spell on the cute barista.
Right. You do not cast a spell to force your coworker or the barista to leave their spouse for you or suddenly notice you. That's considered binding or manipulative magic, which this text strictly forbids.
Okay, so then what is it targeting?
Instead, good magic is entirely about self-empowerment. It's about, healing your own old wounds and clarifying what you actually want to invite into your life.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so the skeptic starts to buy in when they realize that this magic is essentially a deeply focused psychological exercise.
Right, so it's less about shooting a magical tractor beam at a specific target
Exactly.
and more like setting the stage for a really great party. Like you put on the perfect playlist, you clean the house, and you make sure your front door is wide open
Yeah.
so that the right guests who actually want to be there in the first place can find you.
Precisely. You're aligning your physical actions with your internal desires. You're basically removing your own internal roadblocks.
Making space for it.
Right. And when you do that, you create the optimal conditions for genuine connection to flourish. It takes the anxiety out of the process, really, because you're focusing on what you can control, which is yourself and your environment.
Okay, so with that ethical groundwork of good magic laid down, let's actually look at how we manifest these abstract intentions in our physical everyday lives. And here's where it gets really interesting, because the book starts this whole process right in the kitchen.
The historical center of the home, the hearth.
Yeah, the hearth. So the text breaks down love magic into four main categories. We have spells, charms, invocations, and shrines.
Which covers a lot of ground.
It does. Just to give a quick overview for you listening, spells are the active rituals. Charms are physical objects you, infuse with energy and carry around with you. Invocations are spoken words or mantras. And shrines are dedicated physical spaces in your home. So maybe a small table with specific photos, flowers, and crystals that act as a permanent anchor for your intentions.
Right, they hold the space.
Exactly. But the section I really want to dig into is what Greenleaf calls elixirs of love and ritual recipes.
Yes. Kitchen witchery.
Yes. Kitchen witchery. The source gives these incredibly vivid examples, like we're talking about herbal teas infused with rose petals, lavender, and damiana.
Beautiful ingredients.
Right. And wines steeped with cinnamon and warming spices, baking heart-shaped love compies. But, and I have to stop and push back again here.
Go for it.
Historically, the phrase love potion is a massive red flag.
Oh, absolutely.
It brings up these awful images of slipping a powder into someone's drink to artificially induce infatuation like a medieval date rape drug.
Yeah.
How does the author reconcile brewing a literal potion with that strict good magic rule of no manipulation?
Well, if you are secretly slipping ingredients into someone's drink to trick them, you have completely abandoned the principles of this book. Full stop.
Okay, good to clarify.
The potions and libations described here are not for drugging anyone. The magic operates on an entirely different mechanism.
Then what is the mechanism? If it's not a chemical trick, what is the tea actually doing?
It's about intention, mindfulness, and shared experience. But first, let's just look at the ingredients themselves. Damiana historically has been used as a natural relaxant and aphrodisiac.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And lavender soothes the nervous system. Cinnamon stimulates circulation and creates a feeling of warmth. These aren't mystical secrets, they are physiological realities.
They actually do something to the body.
Exactly. But the actual magic happens in the preparation and the consumption.
So, the act of making it is the spell.
Yes. Food is presented as one of the most powerful forms of magic because its fundamental nature is to nourish. So imagine you're standing in your kitchen, right? You aren't just haphazardly throwing a tea bag into a mug while, scrolling on your phone.
Right, you're not distracted.
You're treating the act of brewing as a meditation. As you stir the tea, perhaps clockwise, which in many traditions symbolizes building and drawing energy toward you, you are actively focusing your mind on warmth, safety, and affection. The physical act of cooking becomes a physical manifestation of your desire.
Okay, but if you're listening to this while driving to work, you might be thinking, I barely have time to make instant coffee, let alone mindfully brew damiana and rose petal elixirs.
Which is so fair. We're all busy.
Right. But it sounds like Greenleaf's point is that the scale of the ritual matters a lot less than the focus of it. Even that instant coffee could be a ritual if you pause and make it intentional.
That is exactly the takeaway. And when you serve that tea or that spiced wine to a partner, you are fully present. The act of drinking it together becomes a ritual of bonding.
You're sharing the intention.
Right. You've intentionally created a pocket of time and space dedicated solely to connection. You are quite literally feeding the relationship.
I love that. So kitchen witchery aligns our internal intentions with our physical bodies through food. But if we're talking about aligning our physical bodies with desire, I feel like we have to talk about the most vulnerable physical space of all.
The bedroom.
The bedroom.
Yeah, this brings us to part 4 of the book, Sexuality, Spells, and Lustful Enchantments.
And the source notes, this is probably the most daring section of the text.
Yeah.
It's entirely designed to help the practitioner release inhibition and let go of deeply ingrained shame.
Which so many of us carry.
We really do. It sounds like the book is asking the reader to fundamentally reframe intimacy, taking it from being a routine physical act or maybe a source of anxiety and elevating it to a deeply sacred, shared ritual.
This raises an important question, though, about how society generally views physical attraction versus how this framework of good magic views it.
How do you mean?
Well, society often attaches shame or, transactional value or just mere routine to sexuality. But this book reframes sexuality as a profoundly powerful, life-giving energy.
It's a positive force.
A massively positive force. It is not something to be hidden or weaponized. It's something to be celebrated, respected, and harnessed.
But how do you harness that without slipping into predatory territory? I mean, if you're using lustful enchantments, how do you ensure you're still honoring the dignity of the other person?
Because the focus remains squarely on yourself. The ethics of sexual magic are paramount here, and they absolutely demand mutual respect and total autonomy. When you utilize a sexuality spell from this book, you aren't casting a net to trap a partner or, force their desire.
Right. You're using the ritual to enhance your own personal magnetism.
Okay, can you explain what personal magnetism means in this context? Because it sounds a little bit like an invisible force field.
That's kind of a good way to look at it. Think of it as confidence, but rooted in deep self-acceptance.
Yeah.
A sexuality spell might involve a ritual bath, anointing yourself with specific oils, and setting intentions around feeling beautiful, powerful, and worthy of pleasure.
So it's very internal.
Completely. You're changing your own internal frequency. You're celebrating your own desire and deepening your capacity for intimacy. You're making yourself a brighter, more open vessel for passion.
And people respond to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you do that, you naturally become more attractive to others, but you aren't exerting control over anyone else's physical responses. You're simply shining brighter.
I love that. You're turning on the light inside your own house, rather than trying to drag someone else into the dark.
What a great way to put it. Yes, That makes a lot of sense. So we've gone from the deeply personal space of the kitchen to the incredibly intimate space of the bedroom. But then the book zooms all the way out, way out. It looks at the macrocosm. It explores how you can use massive natural forces to amplify those personal intentions.
Yes, the section titled Love by the Stars, Sun, and Moon, paired with magic minerals. This is where the practitioner learns to leverage the actual environment around them.
And the source gives us a really specific list of crystals, and I want to understand the how and why behind them. We have rose quartz, which she calls the quintessential love stone for the heart chakra. We have rhodonite, used for healing emotional wounds and forgiveness, and garnet for igniting passion and grounding the root chakra.
Right.
Plus moonstone, amethyst, and citrine. But why these specific stones? What is the mechanism here? Is it just color psychology, or is there something else at play?
It's really a combination of both historical symbolism and vibrational theory. In this practice, crystals act as natural concentrators of energy.
How does that work, scientifically speaking? Or magically speaking?
Well, every physical object in the universe vibrates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And crystals, due to their highly organized geometric lattices, vibrate at very stable frequencies. Practitioners believe that these specific frequencies can interact with our own, electromagnetic fields.
So let's look at garnet, for example.
Yeah.
Why does garnet ignite passion?
Well, look at its physical properties. It's a deep, fiery red. Historically, it's been associated with blood, fire, and vitality across multiple cultures. And in energetic practices, it's tied to the root chakra.
And for someone who doesn't know, what does the root chakra actually govern?
In the chakra system, the root chakra is located at the base of the spine. It governs our basic survival instincts, our sense of physical safety, and our raw primal energy.
The foundation.
Exactly. So a stone like garnet is used to ground you in your physical body and awaken those base desires. Now contrast that with rose quartz, which is a soft, gentle pink.
Which feels totally different.
It really does. It's tied to the heart chakra, which is the center of emotional connection, vulnerability, and romantic love. It's a much softer frequency.
Okay, so you have these physical objects, these stones, vibrating with specific intentions, but then you pair them with the sky. How do the celestial bodies factor into this?
The cosmos directly influences our emotional lives in this philosophy. Like, Venus is the planet of love, and the sun represents vitality and warmth. But the moon is the true timekeeper of emotional magic because it operates in these very visible cycles.
Okay, so what does this all mean practically? If I'm reeling from a really bad breakup, right, and I want to use this system to get over it, what's my move? Do I just grab a rhodonite crystal and stare at the sky and hope for the best?
Not exactly. You would want to align your intention with the specific phase of the moon that supports letting go. If we connect this to the bigger picture, in celestial magic, you ride the natural momentum of the universe.
It's like catching a wave.
Yes. So the new moon, when the sky is dark, is for planting seeds. That's when you're ready for a new beginning. The waxing moon, as the light grows fuller, is used to build an existing connection or grow attraction.
Okay, so building up.
Right. And then the full moon is for peak manifestation and intensity. But for a breakup, you would look to the waning moon.
As the light is decreasing.
Exactly. The waning moon is the optimal time for releasing attachments, clearing out old baggage, and healing.
That makes total sense. Think of the waning moon like emptying the trash bin on your computer. You have to actively clear out the corrupted files, the old relationship baggage, the resentment, the sadness, before you even have the hard drive space to install new software during the new moon.
That is a perfect analogy. You can't plant new seeds in a garden full of weeds.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, holding a rhodonite crystal, which carries the frequency of forgiveness during a waning moon, while explicitly setting the intention to release your ex and heal your heart. That is a profoundly aligned magical act. You are stacking the deck in your favor.
Because you have the internal intention. You have the physical object to anchor your focus. And the timing of the universe, all pointing in the exact same direction.
Precisely.
And even if you, as a listener, strip away all the mystical elements and just look at this as a structured mindfulness practice, it is a brilliant psychological framework.
And honestly, that is often the biggest revelation for people. The mindfulness is the mechanism that makes the magic work.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into Cerridwen Greenleaf's work, let's synthesize the core takeaways from the source material. We've distilled it down to 5 main points.
Yes, here.
First, absolutely everyone has the power to attract love. You just have to step out of that waiting room and become an active participant. Second, magic is simply a structured tool for focusing your intention and aligning it with your actions. Third, you can use natural elements, whether that's herbs in your kitchen, crystals, or the cycles of the moon, to amplify and anchor that intention. Fourth, and arguably the most important rule of the text, true love magic must be entirely ethical. It is about personal traction and self-empowerment, never coercion or manipulation.
Never.
And finally, practice makes perfect.
That final point really deserves emphasis. Magic, just like love itself, is a skill that develops over time. You cannot just brew a cup of Damiana tea once and expect your entire romantic life to transform overnight.
Right, it's not a quick fix.
It's not. The practitioner has to trust the process. They must remain disciplined in their intentions, and crucially, they must stay open to unexpected arrivals, because love rarely looks exactly the way we imagine it will when it finally crosses the threshold.
It's about doing the work, setting the stage, and leaving the door wide open. And that brings me to a final thought for you to mull over today. We have spent this entire deep dive talking about using these spells, the crystals, the moon phases, and the kitchen witchery to attract a new mate or to deepen a romance with someone else. But if intention and self-empowerment are the true engines of this magic, what would happen if you applied this exact same witchy, mindful framework inward?
Turning the focus back to the practitioner.
Exactly. Just think about it. What if you didn't wait for a partner to justify making that intentionally infused loving libation, and you just brewed it for yourself? What if you used the waning moon to forgive yourself for past mistakes? Or set a new moon intention purely for your own self-worth, holding that rose quartz just to honor your own heart?
That gave me chills.
Right. If you stopped sitting in the waiting room and actively became an active lover of yourself, how might that completely rewrite the magic of your everyday life?
When you look at the mechanics of good magic, treating yourself with that level of profound, intentional reverence might actually be the most powerful spell in the entire book.
I couldn't agree more.
Oy.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Whether you're holding a crystal or just a really good cup of tea, keep your intentions clear, keep your actions aligned, and we'll see you next time.